Welcome back, guys. If you're interested in A3 content, hit that subscribe button right now. In today's video, we're going to be looking at something which a lot of owners out there, or potential owners, including myself, was wondering. So, which A3 should you get? Should you get the Saloon or the Sportback? Thank you to Maurizio, who's brought his beautiful Tango Red Sportback down to us. He's actually one of our original subscribers. So, thank you again. Some of the things we're going to be running through is the exterior. What are the differences between the Saloon and the Sportback? From an interior perspective, is there any less legroom in the Sportback? Is there any less headroom in the Sportback? So now that we have them side by side, we'll be able to take you through that. What we want to end the video on is a genuine reason for why I personally went with the Saloon and why Maurizio went with the Sportback. So just to help you guys out there who are umming and ahhing between both. And just before we get started, it's worth noting there is a £565 difference between the Saloon and the Sportback. So worth bearing that in mind. And now we'll start by looking at some of the exterior differences between both cars. Right, so we'll start with the Sportback first. You can see it's got a sporty back, yeah. So it's for the young hip guys out here, yeah. So it's obviously got the sloping spoiler. Does this classify as a BGW, do you think? I'm not going to say what that actually stands for, but you can Google that. But yeah, a really big spoiler. It actually looks really, really aggressive. So if I was like, I don't know, a couple of years back, I probably would have. I really like this, and we said it when you pulled up in the car park. Like, wow, that looks proper mean and aggressive. But yeah, it comes down to what you want. So obviously, it's got the sloped back. That's why the spoiler continues. You've got a rear windshield wiper on the back as well, and then the car just completely ends. Come back to the Saloon. It's a bit more grown up. You could say it's a bit more 9 to 5. What the? Right, so we've parked both cars side by side. Now we're going to look at it from a dimensions perspective. Quick one, for those of you, have a quick guess. I'm not going to mention it straight away. What do you think the length difference is in between these two, and do you think it's actually going to be noticeable? So, whilst you're having to think about that, I didn't come unprepared, guys. Got my measuring tape. Right, so there's actually only a 15 centimetre difference between the two. Now you're probably thinking, oh, that's not a big thing, right? It's actually not, so you're talking that much, guys. Right, so this, technically, the Sportback finishes there, right? And you can see if you come around the back here, where the bumper, if I just continue that across, it's literally like minute difference. Now, I don't know about you, but when we were looking at buying the Saloon, Sana was a bit worried. She came from a Mini Cooper, a lot smaller car. She was worried about going for a Saloon, worried that it was going to be too big for her. So I hope this shows that there's actually no difference at all. There's 15 centimeters, but it's more in the styling. That's why it feels like it's a smaller car. So if we come here, you can kind of see if we get level, right? So the Saloon actually goes down from about here. Now if I follow that line straight across, right, to the Sportback, you can see it's actually level with the aerial. So the Sportback doesn't go down a lot sooner, so it's more, carries on going straight, and then it's much more aggressive, like a slant. I guess that's why they call it a Sportback, like it just like chops down. That's why there's actually not that much difference between the cars. It's more in the styling. The Saloon feels like it's longer, but parking them side by side, you can actually see there isn't much difference at all between them. And width-wise, they're both literally identical. It is the same car at the end of the day, guys. To be honest, from certain angles, the Saloon can look a bit squashed. It's because it's obviously come from a Sportback body. They've just stretched it a little bit. So just going back to the spoiler quickly, you can see on the Sportback it wraps around. So yeah, it's plastic, so it's obviously part of the spoiler, not the windscreen. Whereas on the Saloon, you've almost got like a nice bezel, like a thin bezeled, well there is no bezel, bezel-less, is that even a word? Bezel-less glass, which just helps it look really slick. it's not really a spoiler, but you can see what they've done with the saloon is they've kind of like swooped it and made it a bit like a ducktail. So they've built it into the boot lid here. But that's pretty much it in terms of the differences, guys. What we'll do next is let's have a look at the interior and what the differences are there. It feels about the same. So legroom feels about right. So obviously this is probably set to Maurizio's seating position, but it still feels comfortable. It doesn't feel like compact or anything like that. Something I have noticed though, as this roof's going to start sloping about here, you can feel it inside the car. And the window feels like it's letting less light in, but that's basically because there's a pillar just here which like blocks out your immediate light. I think what a good test will actually be is how much headroom I've got above here. So pull out the trusty measuring tape again. It looks like right Wally on camera doing this, but it's accurate nonetheless. Right, so you've got about 10 centimeters space above my head. So again, I'm 5'8", so just to give you guys an indication. Let's jump in the saloon and compare. Right, so back inside my one. Right, so immediately, I don't know, even this, like, I know I just said that felt smaller, but I don't know now. Maybe it's because I don't sit in the back of this one that often enough. It actually feels about the same. We'll see, compare it. Oh no, it's exactly the same. 10 centimeters in that car, 10 centimeters in this. What I do think is a big difference though is in terms of, because this, as far as your peripheral vision can see, you can't actually see these pillars, they're hidden behind. That gives it the illusion that it feels a bit more spacious. Like the legroom actually feels about the same, but because you've just got one big window piece, whereas in the Sportback you've got the A pillar a little bit more forwards, it makes this car feel a little bit bigger. But yeah, there actually isn't much difference at all. But worth bearing that in mind. If you want something that's got a bit more space, feels a bit more roomy, then I think, based on my opinion anyway, the saloon naturally feels like it's a bit bigger. So the next bit is we're going to look at the boot space on both. So the hatchback's got a slightly smaller boot. I think it's 380 litres, and then the saloon's got a 425 litre boot. I've obviously got the storage pack in there, as Maurizio has as well. So got like the cargo nets. I've got a spare tyre and toolkit under mine, but something worth showing is if you don't have the spare tyre, they basically give you like a emergency inflatable kit which you can use. To be honest, if you've got a roadside breakdown, you probably won't be doing that. But something that's cool on the Sportback boot, can you see how this is like roughly flush? Easy for you to take things in and out. But what you can do when you need that little bit more boot space from it is you can actually drop it down. So try and make this look as elegant as possible. So just like that, you rearrange it and you get a bit more boot space out of it. Obviously the advantages here are if you take this partial shelf off and you drop the seats, you're going to get a lot more, you'll be able to fill it a lot higher, whereas with the saloon you're pretty much stuck. So the guy at the dealership had a very good example. If you've got a pushchair or a pram, you're more likely to get in the back of a hatchback than you are in the saloon. So bear that in mind when you're thinking about which ones to buy. Finished doing the comparisons, which leaves us with basically just telling you guys some of the reasons why I chose the saloon and why Maurizio went with a Sportback. So we'll start with Maurizio's reasons first. He actually had a A4 Saloon before this, so wanted something slightly a bit more different. Through his own research, he found that not only is the saloon a little bit more dearer, so what did we say at the start, £565 more, they tend not to hold their values as much based on the research that he did. So in a few years time, the Sportbacks are probably a little bit more sought after. To be honest, I'm not surprised at all. You only have to look at all the previous generations. There's a lot more Sportbacks out there than there were saloons. So yeah, it was the right choice for him, which is great. Like I said, it looks really nice in person. This colour, I saw it on the website, but to be honest, seeing it in person, the way the black accents pop off it, the honeycomb grille, that type of stuff, just looks so much better. It's actually a lot more subtle in the Daytona grey now, so I'm a bit unsure about whether I should have gone for that colour. So we've come around to the saloon, go through some of the reasons why myself and Sana chose this. So we obviously had a Mini Cooper before this, very small car. We wanted something a bit more bigger, something where you could sit adults in the back and you don't look like Wally's getting out of a 3-door car. So the reason specifically went for the saloon was just a personal preference, guys. I wanted something that looked a little bit different, a little bit rarer. So going back to the point, I know there's going to be a lot more sportbacks out there on the road. I wanted something that was a bit more rarer. And again, no offense intended by this, a little bit more grown up. And yeah, that was pretty much it. Sana was worried that it was going to feel a lot bigger. So if there's anyone out there watching who's having the same concerns, don't be. She absolutely loves it. She's used to it. Using the camera and, you know, actually looking at it, it's actually not that big a car in person. It's more the way they've achieved it with the styling to make it look longer, but physically, like we've proven, there's only a 15-centimeter difference between the two anyway. So hope you guys have found this video useful, and leave us a comment down below. Which other two do you prefer? What ones are you on order? Which ones have you already bought? Are some of the things we covered new to you guys? It'd be great. Just let us know down below. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. There will be weekly content on the A3s coming out. Thanks again, Ritzia, for helping us out with the car. We're actually going to now go and film a few other bits in this car. And yeah, for those of you that have been told Apple CarPlay wireless doesn't exist, trust me, it does, and we'll be showing you that very soon. Thanks, guys. I'll share a genuine view of why that car sounds loud. Bit 9 to 5.